Hey everyone, get ready because today we're going deep into the world of biomimicry.
Biomimicry.
But not just any biomimicry, we're talking biomimicry in healthcare,
Yeah, looking to nature for inspiration to solve some of the biggest challenges in medicine.
which is amazing when you think about it. I mean, we already have things like Velcro, which was inspired by those pesky little burrs that stick to your clothes.
Right?
But now we're taking those same principles and we're applying them to things like drug development and tissue regeneration.
It's true.
It's like saying, hey, nature, you've clearly got this whole survival thing figured out.
Yeah.
What can we learn from you?
It's a fascinating approach, and you hit the nail on the head. Nature has been tackling these complex problems for millions of years, evolving elegant solutions through natural selection.
So instead of reinventing the wheel, we're saying, let's just check out nature's patent library for a second.
Exactly.
There's got to be some brilliant stuff in there.
Yeah.
But, I have to ask, it's one thing to admire a spider web for its strength. But how do we actually take something like that and apply it to, say, creating artificial organs?
That's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Take, for example, bone structure.
Okay.
It's incredibly strong and durable, yet it's lightweight and flexible.
Right.
Scientists are studying those properties to develop biocompatible implants that work with the body, not against it.
Oh, wow.
Um,
So it's about understanding the underlying principles that make these natural designs so effective,
yes,
and then finding ways to translate those principles into medical solutions.
precisely. It's about
Mhm.
bridging that gap between the natural world and the medical world. And we're seeing this play out in fields like drug development, where researchers are finding incredible medical compounds in plants and even animal venom.
Wait, venom? Like snake venom?
Yeah.
Are we talking antidotes or something? Because that's a whole other deep dive I'd be up for.
Not quite antidotes, but you're on the right track.
Okay.
It's about identifying the specific components in these substances that have therapeutic potential. For instance, there's ongoing research into using a compound found in the venom of the deadly cone snail to develop fast-acting insulin.
Okay, hold on.
It's remarkable.
Cone snail venom as a source of insulin. That sounds both terrifying and utterly fascinating. How did scientists even discover that? Like, who looked at a cone snail and thought, that venomous creature might hold the key to diabetes treatment?
It's a great question, and it speaks to the unexpected places we can find inspiration.
Yeah.
In this case, researchers were studying the venom of the cone snail to better understand its paralyzing effects.
Wow.
In the process, they stumbled upon a type of insulin that works much faster than human insulin. And it's not just about speed. This venom-derived insulin could potentially revolutionize how we manage diabetes.
So it wasn't just a random guess, there was actual scientific detective work going on there.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. This is blowing my mind already, and we've only just scratched the surface. I'm ready to go deeper into these incredible breakthroughs. Where should we dive in next?
Well, since you're already captivated by the cone snail insulin, let's stick with that for a moment. What's truly remarkable is that this venom-derived insulin isn't just about speed, though that's a huge factor. It's also about mimicking the way the body naturally produces and releases insulin.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not just about replacing insulin, it's about working with the body's own mechanisms.
Exactly. See, in a healthy person, the pancreas releases insulin in these quick bursts in response to food intake. But traditional insulin therapies, they tend to work much slower and often require multiple injections throughout the day.
Which I imagine can be a real challenge for people with diabetes. Constantly monitoring their blood sugar levels, timing their injections just right.
Absolutely. And that's where this bio-inspired insulin could be a game changer. Because it acts so rapidly, it more closely mimics the body's natural response, potentially leading to better blood sugar control and a better quality of life for millions.
That's incredible. And it makes you wonder what other secrets might be hidden right under our noses, or in this case, in the venom of a snail. But you mentioned earlier that this biomimicry magic is showing up in other areas of healthcare too. Like, what about those biomimetic prosthetics? Those have always fascinated me.
They're a fantastic example of how biomimicry can be used to improve both functionality and quality of life. For years, prosthetic limbs were really more like clunky tools.
Yeah.
Functional, yes, but not very lifelike or intuitive to use.
Yeah, I imagine trying to navigate daily life with a prosthetic that doesn't quite move the way you want it to would be incredibly frustrating.
Exactly. But with biomimetic prosthetics, we're seeing a real shift. Scientists are studying the intricate movements of animals, like the way a cheetah runs or a bird folds its wings, to design prosthetics that mimic those natural fluid motions.
So it's not just about replicating the look of a limb, but also the biomechanics of how it actually moves and functions.
That's incredible. And the impact is significant. These biomimetic prosthetics can provide amputees with a greater range of motion, better balance and coordination, and even a heightened sense of touch through sensory feedback mechanisms.
Wow, that's incredible. It's almost like giving someone back a part of themselves that was lost. And you
Yeah.
mentioned sensory feedback, so they can actually feel through these prosthetics.
In some cases, yes. Researchers are developing artificial sensors that can mimic the sense of touch, allowing users to feel pressure, temperature, and even texture through their prosthetic limbs. It's groundbreaking work.
That's remarkable. Okay, this might be a bit of a leap, but when we were talking about the cone snail venom, you mentioned that scientists were initially studying its paralyzing effects. Could there be a connection there to potentially treating paralysis in humans? Could we maybe learn something from how the venom disrupts nerve signals and use that knowledge to potentially repair damaged nerves?
You're thinking along the right lines. While it's a bit more complex than a direct translation, researchers are indeed investigating the potential of certain venoms and toxins for therapeutic applications in areas like pain management and even nerve regeneration.
Wow. So even in something that seems inherently dangerous, there's this potential for healing. It's like nature holds both the problem and the solution within itself.
That's a very insightful observation. And it speaks to the power of approaching nature with a sense of curiosity and respect. There's so much we don't know, so much we can learn, and often the solutions to our biggest challenges are hidden in plain sight.
It's like that saying, nature has all the answers if we only know how to ask the questions.
Precisely. And sometimes the most groundbreaking discoveries come from asking unexpected questions or looking in unconventional places.
We've covered a lot of ground here, from venom-derived insulin to prosthetics that mimic the elegance of nature. It's all incredibly exciting, but are there any challenges or potential downsides to this biomimicry approach in healthcare?
That's an important question. While biomimicry holds immense promise, it's not without its hurdles. One of the biggest challenges is the sheer complexity of natural systems. You see, replicating these intricate designs and processes in a lab can be incredibly difficult and resource-intensive.
That makes sense. We might be able to identify the components of, say, a spider's silk, but actually recreating that same material with the same properties, that's got to be a whole other level of engineering.
Exactly. And then there's the ethical dimension. As with any new technology, we need to be mindful of the potential unintended consequences and ensure that these advancements are developed and applied responsibly.
That's a crucial point. So while there's this incredible potential, it's not a free-for-all. We need to approach it with a balance of enthusiasm and careful consideration.
Precisely. It's about harnessing the power of nature while respecting its limits and ensuring that these advancements benefit humanity as a whole.
Well said. Now we've talked about drug development and prosthetics, but I can't help but be curious about the other areas where biomimicry is making waves in healthcare. What about things like tissue engineering and regenerative medicine? Are there any exciting developments happening there?
Absolutely. In fact, those are two areas where biomimicry is showing incredible potential. For instance, researchers are looking to creatures like salamanders, which have this amazing ability to regenerate limbs for clues on how we might one day be able to regrow damaged tissues or even entire organs in humans.
Wait, seriously, salamanders? That's straight out of a superhero movie. How is that even possible? Are they like reverse engineering salamander DNA or something?
It's not quite that simple, although genetic research does play a role.
Yeah.
Essentially, scientists are studying the cellular processes that allow salamanders to regenerate tissue and trying to understand how those processes might be triggered or enhanced in human cells. It's cutting-edge stuff.
Okay, that is seriously cool. So we're talking about the potential to one day maybe even regrow a damaged heart or a severed spinal cord.
It's a long road ahead, and there's still many challenges to overcome. But the potential is there, and biomimicry is playing a key role in pushing the boundaries of what's possible in regenerative medicine.
That's mind-blowing. Okay, so we've got salamanders regrowing limbs, cone snails inspiring new diabetes treatments, biomimetic prosthetics that move with incredible fluidity. Is there anything biomimicry can't do?
Well, it's not magic, but it certainly feels that way sometimes, doesn't it? The key takeaway here is that nature is a treasure trove of inspiration, and the more we explore it, the more possibilities we unlock.
It's like you said earlier, nature often holds the solutions if we just know how to look for them. But where do we even begin to look? With so much diversity in nature, how do scientists even begin to narrow down which organisms or systems might hold the key to a specific medical challenge?
That's a great question. And it's where collaboration across different fields becomes crucial. Biologists, engineers, medical researchers, they're all working together, observing nature's designs, understanding the underlying principles, and then figuring out how to apply those insights to solve real-world problems. It's a truly interdisciplinary approach.
So it's not just about biologists peering through microscopes anymore. It's about bringing together the best minds from different fields to tackle these challenges from all angles.
Exactly. It's about breaking down the silos and recognizing that innovation often happens at the intersection of different disciplines.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about looking at nature through multiple lenses, you might say.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious, in your opinion, what are some of the most promising or exciting areas of research within biomimicry and healthcare right now? What are you personally most excited to see develop in the coming years?
Well, personally, I'm really excited about the potential of biomimicry in tissue engineering.
Okay.
Imagine being able to grow new organs in a lab
Yeah.
to replace those that are damaged or diseased. Sounds like science fiction, but it does.
It's getting closer to reality thanks to biomimicry.
So how does it work? I mean, how do you even begin to grow a heart or a lung from scratch?
While scientists are looking to nature for inspiration, of course,
Right.
they're studying how organisms like salamanders regenerate limbs and how our own bodies repair tissues at a cellular level.
Interesting.
By understanding these natural processes, they're developing techniques to guide and accelerate tissue growth in the lab using things like bioscaffolds.
Bioscaffolds. What are those?
They're basically like three-dimensional frameworks that mimic the structure of natural tissues.
Okay.
They provide support for cells to grow and organize themselves.
Oh, so it's like giving the cells a blueprint to follow.
That's a great way to put it.
And then what happens once the cells have grown on these bioscaffolds?
Well, ideally, you end up with a functional tissue or organ that can be transplanted into a patient.
Wow, that is incredible.
Mm.
So we're talking about a future where people on transplant lists could potentially receive lab-grown organs. That's the hope. And it's not just about replacing organs. We could also use tissue engineering to repair damaged tissues like cartilage in arthritic joints, or even to develop new treatments for spinal cord injuries.
This is amazing. It's like we're on the cusp of a whole new era of medicine.
We are. And biomimicry is playing a central role in this revolution.
It's clear that looking to nature for inspiration is not just a clever idea, it's a powerful approach to solving some of the biggest challenges in healthcare.
Absolutely. And the best part is we've only just begun to scratch the surface of what's possible.
I totally agree with that. So to our listeners out there, keep your eyes peeled because the future of medicine is looking pretty amazing thanks to the incredible world of biomimicry. And that's a wrap on today's deep dive, folks. Thanks for joining us.
It was a pleasure being here.
Until next time, stay curious.